Hello everyone, my name is Siti Andini, and today in this presentation, I will walk you through 10 academic articles focused on listening, reading, and writing in EFL context. Each article offers a unique lens on how we can make language learning more effective, more engaging, and student-centered. So, this is 10 articles that I'm going to explain to you. So, the first article is by Mukhtarova, How to Improve Listening Skills of both ESL and EFL students. So, Mukhtarova addresses something we all face in EFL classroom. Students struggling to understand spoken English. But what makes this article stand out is how practical it is. It doesn't just say listening is important, but it explains how to build listening habits through small daily exposure, like listening to short podcasts, music, or conversations, even when students are not fully focused. It also talks about active versus passive listening. Passive listening can still train our ears to get used to English rhythm and pronunciation. Active listening, meanwhile, is when students focus consciously, for example, when doing a comprehension task. This article encourages teachers to create both types of opportunities in and out of class. Its biggest value is that it promotes autonomous learning, helping students develop habits they can continue even outside a school, even outside classroom. What it lacks though is specifically, it could have provide models or classroom-based examples for low research context. And we move to the second article, is the use of song as learning media in teaching listening to EFL students by Yogi and Anissa Aulia. So this article brings music into the spotlight. It discusses how English songs were used in junior high classrooms to improve listening skills. Here's what I loved about it. Students weren't just more focused, they were genuinely more engaged and motivated. Music created a relaxed environment, reducing the stress and boredom often associated with listening tasks. The researchers used real data, comparing students' scores before and after using songs. The improvement was significant, but it wasn't just about test scores. Students felt more connected to English and they developed a more positive attitude toward listening practice. One important application is that teachers don't always need expensive tools or native speakers to teach listening. Sometimes all it takes is a well-chosen song and a few creative questions. That said, the article didn't explore how to pick songs that are culturally appropriate or linguistically appropriate. That would have made the findings even stronger. Now let's move to the third article, investigating EFL teachers' view on listening difficulties among their learners, the case of Iranian context by Nushi and Oroji. In the third article, which flips the perspective, instead of focusing on students, this one listens to teacher. In Iran, over 200 EFL teachers shared what they saw as the biggest listening challenges among students. So what are the top of difficulties? The first one is the speed of native speaker, and the second is lack of vocabulary, and the third is unclear pronunciation due to different accent. The strength of this article is its large sample and its honesty. Teachers weren't shy about pointing out both student-related and material-related issues. However, it stops at the diagnosis. What it really needs is a follow-up study on how teachers can adapt listening materials or provide scaffolding to make input more accessible. Still, as a needs analysis, it's a powerful foundation for classroom innovation. Switching to the reading now. Article 4, the role of the L1 as a scaffolding tool in the EFL reading classroom by Abdullah Buta and etc. explores how the first language or L1 can be used as a scaffold in reading comprehension. This article is based on the belief that understanding meaning comes first. If students can make a sense of passage, they won't care about its grammar or vocabulary. In Yemen, the researchers found that when students were allowed to use Arabic strategically, for example, to discuss ideas or summarize content, they actually understood the English text better. The article challenges the traditional belief that using L1 is a form of cheating or weakness. Instead, it frames L1 as a bridge to deeper comprehension. Its strength is the clarity of the argument. Using L1 does not replace English, but supports it when necessary. As possible drawback is that it didn't explore how to transition students away from L1 over time, which is also important if the ultimate goal is fluency in English. Now, on to something more interactive. Hui Hua Chiang's article examines the impact of using Kahoot in reading classes. Kahoot is a game-based platform where students answer quizzes in real time. But this study wasn't just about having fun. It was about whether this fun improves reading motivation and understanding. And the findings, students felt more engaged, more willing to participate, and even retained vocabulary better. Chiang also noted how competition, instant feedback, and visuals made the reading task feel more alive. One student even said Kahoot made reading less lonely because the whole class was involved. However, there's a catch. Not all students see Kahoot as serious academic work. So while it boosts motivation, it should be used alongside more traditional comprehension checks, not as a full replacement. So move to the next article, print versus digital reading comprehension in EFL. This article brings up something super relevant, how reading digital text isn't the same as reading printed ones. Pardede explained that digital reading is often non-linear. We scroll, click, skim, and switch tabs, and this affects comprehension. He also points out that today's learners are digital natives, but that doesn't automatically mean that they are better readers when using screens. Print reading tends to lead to deeper focus and better recall, while digital text might encourage multitasking or shallow scanning. What is great about this article is how it combines theory with classroom implication, but it misses a practical change. It could have suggested reading strategies specifically tailored to digital formats, like skimming techniques or chunking online text. Still, it helps teachers realize that platform matters in reading comprehension. So now we jump into the world of AI, and it's personal because Hello ChatGPT Baskara explores how tools like ChatGPT can assist EFL learners with writing, for example, by generating sample paragraphs, giving grammar correction, or offering vocabulary suggestion. When teachers have limited time to give individual feedback, students can ask the tool question, check sentence flow, or even explore different writing analysis. But here's the big but. If students rely on it too much, they might lose their own critical thinking and creativity. The article is strong because it acknowledges both sides, the potential and the ethical risk. Its biggest value is opening a new conversation. Not should we ban ChatGPT, but rather how it can guide students to use it responsibly. Okay, let's stay in the writing zone for a bit. This next article dives into the common writing mistakes EFL students make, especially Thai university students. It identifies two main sources. The first is interlingual errors caused by L1 interference, like translating grammar structures directly. And the second is intralingual errors, which come from misunderstanding or overgeneralizing English rule. What I like is that this article doesn't just list the mistake, it traces why they happen. That's important for teachers' design writing instruction. However, the scope is limited to narrative writing, which makes me wonder if similar patterns would appear in argumentative or academic essays. Let's switch gears. This article focuses on cooperative learning, the idea that students learn better when they work together. Chen reviews multiple studies showing that when students collaborate, they develop stronger academic skills, lower anxiety, and become more confident speakers. Cooperative learning also builds soft skills like negotiation, active listening, and empathy, which are often missing in grammar-heavy classrooms. One important point from this article is that EFL learners benefit from peer explanation. Hearing concepts explained by friends in simple words can sometimes be more effective than teachers' lectures. While cooperative learning works, it also requires a mindset shift from both teachers and students. Let's end with a bit of fun. And honestly, this one is my favorite. This article is all about why games matter in EVAL classrooms. It explores how games aren't just time fillers. They created a space where students can feel safe to make mistakes, laugh, and practice language spontaneously. For example, the authors observed a lesson using the game Twister adapted with vocabulary tasks. Students were more engaged, less anxious, and remembered the word better. The article argues that games lower the affective filters, a fancy term that basically means reducing fear and increasing confidence. But of course, the article only tested one game with 2 students, so we can draw a big conclusion. Still, it powerfully reminds us if our classroom are too serious, we might be killing students' curiosity, because learning should be joyful. So, what's the big picture? These 10 articles cover listening, reading, and writing, but more importantly, they are connected by a deeper theme, human-centered learning. Here's how they group together. Listening, Article 1, 2, and 3. We move from Strategies by Mukhtarova to Media by Yogi to Teacher Perspective by Nushi. Together, they show that improving listening isn't just about material, but it's about how we listen, why we listen, and how we suppose we feel when doing it. And reading, Article 4, 5, and 6. We look at support tools, L1 from Buta, Gamification Kahoot by Chiang, and Media Safe Digital Reading in Part D. The common thread, reading comprehension depends not only content, but also on how we present and frame it. And the last is writing and classroom engagement, Article 7 to 10. Here we blend technology, ChatGPT, understanding errors, Rata Nadilog, collaboration by Chen, and games by Ghost Chu. This shows that writing success comes from combining technical skills with emotional and social support. In short, EFL success isn't just about teaching language. It's about designing a classroom that understands the learners, their emotion, habits, tools, and relationships. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found a new insights, not just about the articles, but also about how EFL classrooms can be transformed. Let's continue creating space where English isn't just taught, but lived, experienced, and enjoyed. Thank you. Bye-bye.